Welcome back. We are with our Watchmen All-Star panel, Kufai's Communications Director Ari Morgenstern, our Middle East analyst Kasim Hafiz. We're talking Iran, Hezbollah, Syria, and much more. But gentlemen, we're also talking about the Western Hemisphere, what Iran and Hezbollah are doing right here in our backyard. Kasim, talk about Iranian influence in the West.
As I said before, Iran, from the outset of the revolution, made it clear that this was going to be a global revolution. It wasn't going to stay in Iran. And they've spread westwards. You have various foundations, non-profits all over Western Europe, which are funded by Iran. The links are clearly there. This isn't speculation, and they're entrenched there. But even more relevant to us here...
They've got kind of front groups, I guess, operating.
Yeah, you know, they're promoting that ideology, and who knows what else.
Yeah.
But here in North America and South America, there is documented evidence of Iranian Hezbollah groups committing acts of terror. You know, Argentina, for example, with the embassy bombing, the Amia Center.
1994.
Yeah, you know, you've got involvement within the drugs trade, involvement with cartels, especially within that border region. And there have been numerous incidences in recent years of Hezbollah or Iranian operatives being arrested in the United States.
Wow, a scary, scary thought. And Kasim, this is kind of the A-team of terrorism, as Hezbollah has been called. This is a terrorist army with extensive experience in these kind of overseas operations.
Yeah, I mean, they are incredibly effective. You can't deny that. And they are, to call them a terrorist organization is almost downplaying how powerful and how strategically minded they are and their ability to pull off these very big operations.
Yeah, it's a scary thought. Ari, we're talking about the Western Hemisphere. South America has been somewhat of a hotbed for Hezbollah influence. I think of Venezuela, obviously, a country having its own problems right now. But talk a bit more about that Hezbollah influence and presence at America's doorstep there in South America.
Well, I think Kasim really hit the nail on the head when he talked about the bombings in Argentina. This is not a new problem, and this is not a new target for Iran. Iran, as he said, it doesn't operate like a ragtag group of terrorists. Yeah. It has a foreign intelligence services for all intents and purposes. It has foreign operatives. Venezuela, Argentina, Paraguay, Brazil. All of these countries in South America, they have long been targets of the Iranians. There are individuals that are associated, whether directly or loosely, with Iran's foreign intelligence operations, with their foreign terrorist proxy, Hezbollah, all across South America, and as Kasim said, even here in the United States. This is not a terrorist organization that is hidden in some cave. This is a terrorist organization with global reach, and we need to be paying very close attention to what they're trying to achieve in South America.
Kasim, the Golan Heights, obviously a buffer between Israel and Syria in many ways. Why is it so important for Israel to keep Iran off the Golan Heights? Because Iran seems very determined to have a presence there.
Throughout Israel's history, after the War of Independence, from 1948 to 1967, Syrians were just firing artillery into Israel. Yeah. It was very convenient.
They had the high ground, essentially. With the Golan, you have the high ground there.
Yeah, and there was thousands of attacks in that period. The only time the Golan Heights have known peace for Israel is when they controlled them.
Exactly.
And could you imagine then having Iran there in 2019 with sophisticated missiles, with the ability to look deep into Israel?
Down at the Galilee.
It's
nightmare scenario.
And Israel is a narrow country. It doesn't have strategic depth, and to lose that high ground would be, I mean, it's unthinkable.
It's unthinkable. That's the best way to put it, Kasim. Now, Ari, there is talk in the Trump administration even about ways to kind of reinforce Israel's ownership of the Golan. Tell us about that.
Well, I think that the Trump administration, and I think that a lot of people who are focused on the strategic elements that Kasim just discussed, understand that there's no fathomable way that an Israeli government can responsibly turn the high ground, the strategic high ground, back over to Syria. The Golan Heights are going to remain a part of Israel in perpetuity, in my view. The Israelis have already extended administrative and traditional laws there. The time has come at Kufai, we believe, for the administration, for the U.S. government to recognize Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, because it's simply no other way to ensure peace for the Galilee.
It's long overdue. And now we know there's other legislation in the works regarding Iran and some other good stuff. We'll bring you back on to talk about. Anything you want to share before we go?
Well, I'll simply say that the only thing that Iran has responded to over the years have been strong, biting sanctions. Now, we were very grateful for the president tearing up the JCPOA, the Iran nuclear deal. We're very grateful for the sanctions that were reimposed, but more must be done. Iran continues to try to extend its Islamic revolution throughout the region and, frankly, throughout the world. The only thing to which they have responded are sanctions, and I fully expect that in the coming months, the coming year, we're going to see some additional strong biting sanctions against Iran that curtails its ability to finance terrorists like Hezbollah.
Yeah. Thankfully, Ari, because sanctions are really the only thing that has worked
it's
against
the only
Iran.
thing that's worked. That's
basically.
Right.
Kasim, you have some exciting things in the work for CUFI. We have a new morning briefing email that you're going to be putting together every day. It's coming out. Tell us more about it and how everyone at home can sign up for this email.
5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and you can go on the website and opt in. It will be CUFI's daily briefing, and we'll have 5 or 6 of the best news stories, most important things that you need to know for that day, just to keep you up to date and educated. So when you're having those conversations, you're hearing these things, you know what's going on.
Yeah, and you can educate your friends, your family, everyone in your neighborhood about what's going on in Israel and why it matters to them. Guys, thanks for educating us today. Ari Morgenstern, Kasim Hafiz, great job, gentlemen. Folks, you see the website there, kufi.org. Sign up for that morning briefing. Great information that you will not get anywhere else. Well, coming up after the break, my final thoughts from Jerusalem. We had a big party there recently for our founder and chairman, Pastor John Hagee. We will take you there after the break. Stick around.